Oh, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Death Series, An Exploration of Life. Today, I'm very excited about our topic, Discussions with a Death Doula. I will introduce Linda in a moment, but I just want to let you know that I'm Beverly Carter and I'm a notary public. I've been commissioned for about 7.5 years now, and I have a master's degree and I have many PhDs in life. And you'll see there down in the corner, I love my poodles. It actually should be poodles. We just picked up a baby, medium-sized poodle. She's 11 weeks old, Abby. She's not here at the moment. She's with my husband because she doesn't like it when I'm not in the room. So, but I will share pictures and many pictures coming up. So very exciting. So we've already done insights from a medium, what shade of gray is your will. Today we are doing discussions with a death doula with Dr. Linda Franchi. Tomorrow we have the philosophy of death with Dr. Nina Belmonte. And on October the 29th, we have Meet the Mortician. So, and a practical insight into dealing with our bodies. So discussions with a death doula. Welcome, Dr. Linda. I've had some lovely discussions with Linda, and she's put together a presentation today, which we'll get into. But I just want to talk a bit about, what sort of leads me to wanting to explore these subjects. I've had some very difficult experiences around death myself, 4 in particular in my life, very up close and personal. And they've been very formative for me and affirming at the same time, I guess is also a good word. Spiritual. And I always say that some experiences may be hard, but no experience is bad. And that has always been my personal belief. And I know that as a notary, I'm dealing with people's documents. We're talking about the wills and the advanced care planning. And so I wanted to explore this. I wanted to bring this to my clients as an opportunity to look at a different way of looking at this and just open up people's options because sometimes we don't know where to turn or who to turn to. And so it is a significant part of life in that we deal with death. And it's, as I say, I'm here for life's notable moments, and that is certainly a notable moment. Either for ourselves or for someone that we love. So, Dr. Linda, she is a death doula. But I do want to say, I felt as soon as I talked with Linda, I felt an incredible connection. There is very much like a kindred spirit, if you like, where, we're kind of on the same page. This is something that we're passionate about. And about helping other people. And I think that, and she's a lot of fun. So I think you're really in for quite a treat. And so I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Linda to start talking.
Well, first of all, I want to say hi and good morning. Thank you all for coming. And I want to thank Beverly and Emily for getting us all prepared. It's a great honor to be doing this. And so I guess we should move on to the next slide. So this is a new experience for me, doing it with Beverly this way. So I'm just going to move right on in. So I've organized today's lecture, or not lecture, but our little chat together, fireside chat, into 3 sections. What is a death doula? What does that really mean? And then what I've done is I have taken 4 case studies of individuals that I've worked with. And then we can meet the teachers and they can teach us. I've taken out identifying information. It just allows us to concretize the experience. And I'm going to touch on advanced care planning, but I want you to know at the front that advanced care planning takes a little bit more time, as Beverly does it, over a long period of time. But we're going to touch on it. How do we start thinking about it? How do we start making plans to make our advanced care plans? Okay.
And click. Okay, I'll get with it.
It's okay. This is kind of fun for me. I hope it'll be fun for you, Beverly.
Yeah.
All right. So I assume because you're participating in this that you're interested in having a conversation about death, but many people aren't comfortable talking about death. And I think that becoming literate about your death is really about knowledge and power. The more you know about yourself and what you want and the choices, gives you some sort of control in a very uncontrollable situation. It allows you to make informed and empowered decisions about how you want to live. Because when we start looking at our values and we look at what it is that we would want if we were given 6 months to live, we then start, prioritizing, and it really talks to us about what's important and what's not. From my experience over many years now in working with, being with, supporting individuals, conversations about death can reduce the fear, the big elephant kind of in the room that nobody wants to talk about. It provides us with more perspective because it widens our earth. It increases our pleasure and motivation for life. How can that be? Well, because we end up getting a bucket list and we end up putting on our bucket list things that are really important. And I have also found with individuals that it creates a deeper sense of spirituality or connectedness, whether that be from nature, whether it be from their universal spirit, whether it be, the God of their understanding. Of course, everyone defines spirit in different ways, but it brings them closer to that spiritness. And once they finished all of these plannings and done all of this kind of preparation, it does bring them a peace of mind. Because once they finished all the paperwork, all the logistics, all of that important stuff, they can then put that in a drawer and wait until they need it. So it's really, really good. All right, next, please. Thank you. So I am a member of the End of Life Doula Association of Canada, and their vision is to raise the standard of end-of-life care. It's really important. It's a young organization, but there is great movement across the country to bring about changes in how we deal with the death experience. And so their mission, is to promote high quality end-of-life care by setting the standard for the doula profession, which is really important. Through our membership, through training based on our needs and recommendations made by, in conjunction with the Ministry of Health, health authorities, and outside agencies such as Canadian Hospice and Palliative Care Associations. So you have to go through a vetting process to become a member. You have to have some training, you have to have reference letters, you have to have a CV, you have to have a criminal record check. There's a number of steps that must be completed and before you can actually become a full active end-of-life doula. And I think this is good initially to begin that process of opening this up so that, that we set the standard because it's a new profession in that we now have a name for it. Next, please. So here we are. What is a death doula exactly? Well, it's a certified, it's pronounced doula, and it's a certified professional. So their goal is to empower, to educate, and to encourage clients in making decisions about dying and the death experience. And so that covers a lot of area, from advanced care planning to looking at departure directions, to supporting families, to helping them with the emotional support, all the way through to death and even assisting them with service arrangements. The word doula is Greek for servant or helper, and I love the word servant. I don't Helper is good, but my professional career, was in a lot of counseling capacities with communities, and helper always just felt a bit kind of, but servant really makes it clear that we are there to serve the individual while they are making their transition, however that might be. So I like it a lot, and it really fit for me, and it was really great. It was great for me to have a name for it. So technically, we offer information, advocacy, and support to individuals and families through the ups and downs of dying and death. I mean, yes, we all seek a beautiful death, a pain-free death. We all seek many wonderful things, and there's some ups and downs in dying and death. And so we're there to help hold the space for people. And it's a beautiful thing. Okay, go ahead, please. Thank you. So now, why did I become a death doula? I've been doing this work professionally and personally for decades without a name for it. I did pastoral care counseling in a hospital. I did training, so I was there for a year, and I'd, be with people who were having babies, and then people who were sick, and people who were dying, and staff were trying to save lives, and they'd lose lives, and suddenly, they were really upset that they had lost a life, and so that became an area. And then, of course, many different people in my life, because of my age now, with enough life experience, most of us have someone in our lives. And so, I would have to say that there's been quite a few in my family that I have, doulaed with and for and that kind of thing. And then, of course, lots of friends. And professionally, I also have been doing this work through, clients, through clinical work. Somebody would come and maybe they were dying, and so we had to deal with that, and or maybe they were clients were coming in who needed some counseling because they're in bereavement, that somebody had died. So it all kind of fit together. So it's been a long process for me to be doing this work. Helping people plan and prepare for their own departure brings real depth and meaning to our lives, because you really talk about real things. It's really deep. We talk about what's really important, our values, our beliefs, and things that are really important at our heart level. So I like doing that. And of course, we all need a little support and comfort when making difficult decisions. Currently, I'm working with a woman from Montreal who is okay about the fact that she's facing a terminal illness, but having a hard time dealing with some of the practicalities and details around what happens to her after her death because of her religion and needs of the family and the conflicts and all those kinds of things. So we've been doing FaceTime every week. And so she just finds it so helpful just to be able to talk about these things. And I give her homework every week, and it just helps her to feel that she's making progress. And I like to do that. That's a great gift that that's a great way to serve people. Why did I become a death doula? Because I believe that your death is about the choices, and that you have the power to make those decisions. We can take some comfort in planning our own death, and I like that. I like that very much. And I want you to have that, because I want you to have the respect and dignity that you deserve. So these are some of the reasons why I became a death doula. There's many more, but of course we only have an hour here today, so we must move on, Beverly. Now, I've given you all the formalities of what a death doula is. I've told you about my heart and why I like to do it. But I want to talk, and there's many realities of a death doula's mission. I like this because I felt like it's like Mission Impossible, The tape will self-destruct in 2 minutes unless you deal with it. So one of the most important things that you follow directions and the wishes of our clients, even in the face of adversity and discomfort. So what would that look like? Well, that would be like a family member getting in the way of a client who wants to have something that the family member doesn't. Now, you don't go in there like the Hulk and, separate them and do all that kind of stuff. But what you do is hold the space and find a way to facilitate those kinds of things. At the end of the day, a death doula is the client, the one who is transitioning, the one who is, leaving. And so we try our best to focus on the needs of the client and try to balance the competing needs. We want to be present to the client. Oh, I think you went too fast. Did you, or did I say all that? Oh,
sorry, bad me.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
Okay, here we
Sorry
go.
about that.
No, don't worry. I just thought I had said it all too fast and hadn't remembered.
Nope.
Okay.
You're doing fine.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so be present to clients' needs and support the families and healthcare professionals as needed. So it's the kind of thing where you kind of rise up, and when you're not needed, fade back. It's that kind of thing. You form a part of a team. You may have brought about the team, but you are just there to support and hold the containment. Hold the space for the client's changing needs and circumstances wherever possible. Well, I hope that speaks for itself, but there's many examples. The changing needs are the client may want this today, but as they go down the road, then their needs are changing. And you must go with that. You want to go with that because you're accompanying them, and bring a calm presence. And I like to say filled with curiosity and awe to each encounter, because no two experiences are the same. No two people are the same. The dynamics of each death, person, family, the illness, everything is always different. So you want to come in as this is your first time, and you're bringing with you an openness of heart, an openness of curiosity and awe to each encounter. Okay?
We're good.
Yes.
Got it.
Now, what's in it for me? What do I get out of doing all this good work? Well, I have to be honest. Each end-of-life client relationship profoundly changes me. In no way can anyone else change me in this way. It's real, it's raw, and it's transformational. When people are faced with end-of-life decisions and end-of-life situations, a lot of the masks that we put up to help us get through life, they slip away. And what you really have is a soulful kind of connection, or you have a heart to heart. All those things that we put up to keep us safe and defense and all that, they kind of just slip away. So it's a wonderful, wonderful gift, the rawness of connection. I find it breathtakingly beautiful as I accompany them for their final departure. And, I find that it's kind of spectacular and holy. If we can find a frame in your own, whatever it is you believe, whatever it's holy. It's one of those things that's like, it's just amazing. In serving them as they make their way home, wherever their home may be. Some people think they're going to the Lord. Some people think they're going to the dirt. Some people think they're going nowhere and it's all over. It doesn't matter to me what they believe. What matters to me is that I'm there with them, serving them in the goals to move them to their final breath. And I guess really life stands still for me, and I'm very, very grateful to be such an honor to be with people at this point in their life. Whew, that's a heartfelt thought. Move along.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a little pause here. I think I should ask, does anyone have any questions? Is there anything anyone's feeling as we're going through this? I'm pretty sure that some of you may have had an experience or two.
How do you help clients whose religious beliefs don't allow for their personal wishes? Specifically, for example, If a Catholic person has a medically assisted death, considered suicide, they wouldn't be allowed to be buried on sacred ground. How would you help them reconcile this? It's a good question. Yeah.
It's an excellent question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, that is so interesting. Well, I would have to sit with them and I would have to talk about it. I would probably get a priest in. I would get the individuals that would need it to help her come to her or him to come to a decision. That is a fantastic question.
Yeah, I don't think that's an easy one.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that those are the decisions that have to be made when making those kinds of medical assisted in dying.
Mm-hmm.
There are some hospitals that won't allow you to do it in their hospital. They transfer you out to another hospital. So it would be about dialogue. It would be about, again, helping the person determine at the end of the day, is it more important for you to be buried in a Catholic ritual way? Or do you want maids? But I wouldn't be helping them. I would be bringing in the resources to help them. I would just be help processing it.
So if you were working with someone who is having a medically assisted death, but chose not to tell their family members they were doing this, how would you deal with that situation?
Oh my goodness, these are fantastic questions.
Yeah.
Okay, well, well, hopefully there would have been a lot more process for us to figure out why they would be doing that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's fear behind that? Not wanting to tell people? Fear of the person who is choosing to maids? Is it a fear?
Like I say, there'd be a lot more process involved.
Mm-hmm.
But if a person has in full capacity,
yeah,
that it's not based on anger or revenge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it is at the end of the day, they have to have it approved by the doctor, and they have to have all that certification in place. And at the end of the day, it's their call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They get to choose who's going to be at the death. You see, this is, it's like, and I probably would try to help the family at some point. Unless they had no idea, then that's a really good question. I mean, we'd have to spend at least an hour over tea discussing how we would approach this. Yeah. How would you, I want to know how you would approach it. You tell me. Who asked this question? It's a beautiful question.
Yeah.
Because people have the right, that the whole purpose of this is that they get to choose who they want. Some people don't get along with their brother. They don't want their brother anywhere near them. Ex-husbands, they don't want them near. These are reality about relationships. So I would try and honor as much as possible, as much as I could. But I would be processing. This wouldn't just come. I mean, it would be a process, of course, because they would be talking to me about why they're making the decision. But I wouldn't have any power to change that. I might give them some options. I might say, here might be the consequence of doing that, or, and of course they would tell me, I don't care, I'm dying. If they were doing that kind of a, I don't know, is that helpful? Was that good as a starter?
You're saying it's an hour of tea. I believe that. Yeah.
Oh, no, I think these are great questions. You could have a whole section on those questions that have been asked so far.
Sure.
They're fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous questions.
Great.
Okay. Okay. So next is we're going to meet my teachers. So let's bring up the first one. So here we are. This was a person Wonderful, wonderful person who decided that wanted her death. And this is a good one to go continue on because the
Mm-hmm.
husband didn't want her to do it. He wanted her to just keep living, and he didn't want her to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a lot of I did a lot of the companioning process of recertifying her for maids. What does that mean? That means that she had got a certification, but continued living for a longer time. So
Mm-hmm.
she was very upset because she had to go through the process again to get recertified because there's only a 6-month period where it's good for, because you have to be uh, cognitive and everything has to be
Mm-hmm.
working to be
Mm-hmm.
able to make it. So I provided an active, non-judgmental space. I assisted, this was really interesting, quite different to the question that was asked. She wanted all of her family and friends for an afternoon farewell party. So that's what we did. She ordered pizza, her husband, the kids flew in. There was quite a few people that came, family members, cousins, nieces, and they spent the afternoon together. Lots of hugs, lots of kisses, lots of talking, lots of pictures, lots of laughter, some tears, obviously, in different places at different times throughout the house. And I just kind of mingled with everybody. I served food. I was, with the client at times, checking in. I was with the husband. I was with, different people, the friends. And then as they were leaving, there was a beautiful staircase. So she sat on the staircase, and I ended up taking portrait pictures of all of the people, and then was able to forward those to the family. And of course, what a gift for them to, because they all wanted, because she was quite cognizant. She had a neurological issue, but she was she was not in a bed, if you know what I mean. She was movable. So she was very happy about that, and they were happy. So that was good. So then we had the maid's death. Smaller group the next day, sister, husband, and son, doctor and nurse. And I obviously stayed with the family, which, sometimes can be 4 or 5 hours waiting for the removal. Even though you make the plan ahead of time, it sometimes takes them a while to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And we escort the body out in a very respectful way and into the hearse. And so on each of these for today, I kind of brought out a lesson that I learned from the experience, obviously many, but one that was really significant for this one is that the family was severely impacted by the speed of the death with maids.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is, in deaths that are natural, it is a process over time.
Mm-hmm.
With the medical assisted in death, it's 3 injections and then you die. So it's very quick, and it was very upsetting to the family, very upsetting, because they didn't, we hadn't thought of that, and I certainly hadn't either. So I figured that one out. So now when I do consults and people talk to me about wanting it, I let them know right away to inform the families,
Yeah.
inform the people you're going to be with, that it's very quick. It's not a slow, sleepy kind of allowing you time to process. It's very shocking. Okay, next one.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So 49, a fella, brain cancer at home. I basically supported the wife through face-to-face meetings and telephone conversations. I provided emotional support at diagnosis, during treatment, and subsequent medical decline. As time moved forward, I visited a family home twice a week at least, because he was at home. Daily contact through telephone or FaceTime with the wife. And one of the things that I did with wife here, she was an excellent caregiver. She managed his whole care right from the beginning to the end, everything. But one of the issues that she called me with was that she couldn't go into the room and sit with them. She could do, but she couldn't just be with, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I said, no problem, I'm coming over. So I came over and I grabbed a chair and I went into the room and I said, put a chair at the outside of the room, right there. And you and I are going to talk. And so we just talked. So she sat outside the room and I sat inside the room with him and we talked. And so what ended up happening as we did this, she moved her chair closer and closer into the room. And finally, we were sitting with husband and chatting. And that was one of the biggest gifts, for me that I could, because in the end, she really wanted to be with her husband. There was something she couldn't jive with, you know what I mean? So that was a beautiful thing. So the lesson learned from this particular one, and of course, there is no just one, there's many, but this one was that humor also has a place at the table of dying and death. Things can be kind of funny. They're reverent. They are reverent, but things do happen that are funny. And at one point, he died. We didn't know he died. And so we were kind of shaking him to find out, because we were there. We were the ones who were going to be with him. And at one point, I guess she was like, hey, like it was too funny. We just burst into laughter about, the seriousness of it all. So, laughter goes to tears too, right?
Yeah.
So, it's just an emotion, right? So anyway, okay, next one. Beautiful fella, beautiful fella. Now, this was an interesting, wonderful, wonderful story on this one. 95, imagine at 93 getting ovarian cancer. What is the luck of the draw on that one? Went through her whole life. She was a very high level community member and, she picked me. What can I say? And so here we go. And this is kind of what I did. I accompanied her to the doctors, chemos. Towards the end, of course, I visited quite a bit of time. I helped her navigate the healthcare system. She actually was deaf, using American Sign Language. So she was, and I have that skill. So that was really great because I could work with healthcare, palliative services, community services. I also arranged for the family, friends, and community visits because she would hold tea, from the bed. So I became her little secretary, I would serve the tea, people would come in, I'd leave the room, that kind of thing. Really, really incredible woman. And the lesson learned is that servant has a variety of definition that expands day by day. And, because it was over a longer period and her needs increased. And so servant, became, sometimes you did things that you didn't think you were going to be doing. So anyway, that's what happens. All right, let's move on to the next one. Lovely, lovely. Oh, heartfelt. Now, this one turned into be quite an interesting one. So we had someone who had deep vein thrombosis in a hospital outside of the city. Contacts me, wants me to fly to Kamloops, accompany the son on the flight. So I arrive, mom is there. And so I attend meetings with her and doctors and social workers. And I, also help mom to empty and pack up personal belongings from the daughter's house. Because of course, in this situation, the daughter died. So this was tragic, but it doesn't matter. As a death doula, it's not, there's death in many ways, sudden death, long death, short death, medium-term death, different ages, different genders, different, death doulaing is really about being able to be there, when someone needs you. So in this one here, family dynamics sometimes require extraordinary actions. So we had a very angry son. And so there was a lot of facilitating going on to keep mom safe, to keep son allowing to express his, people have a different way of dealing with grief. And then bring in the professionals to facilitate it, after you're done. So anyway, that was a heart stopper too, you know, very, very, very deep. All right, I think we're back through the 4 now. Are we done on this?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I
So
want to stop here just because I want to pause because, you know, these were incredible human beings. And I want to know, does anybody have any questions with what I've done so far on those particular 4 cases that I shared? Nothing? Okay. So now I'm going to move you into advanced care planning. And I thought I would show you a little video. It's 1 minute and 34 seconds by someone famous. So I'm just going to touch on this a little bit. So where are we now in BC around healthcare planning? 79% have thought about who they would make decisions for them if needed, because that's really important too. It's kind of like better to have it in place in case something happens, you know, just in case. I know Beverly has a story about her dad. It happened, and it's good to have it. So 79 have thought about it. 71 have thought about what matters most for their health care, which is really important because it's not only about appointing somebody, it's what kind of interventions do you want? You know, about your wishes, about what you're willing to have, what you're not, you know, and it's about your beliefs and values, because certain things you want and certain things you don't. And that's just kind of how it works. So 49% have discussed it. 27% of people in BC have documented or recorded their health care wishes. That's pretty good. But only 10% have talked with their doctor. So that's an important concept too, because if you've talked with everyone and you've got someone designated and you've got everything written down, and you haven't talked to your doctor, that means that your doctor is going to be the least educated about your wishes than anyone else. So let's move on to the next one. So important, I think. Yeah. So for those of you who don't have it done or don't know how to start, the question that's really important, conversation starters, are how well do you know me? And these questions are great. What do I worry about most when it comes to my future health? So, you know, what values and beliefs and activities are most important to me? What is it that I want to do every day? What, you know, how do I want to be in the world? Do you know my thoughts about being an organ donor? Yeah. Are you an organ donor? Is it on your card? Does your family know this? Who would I want involved in decisions about my healthcare? Very important. Is it someone you trust? You know, who do you trust that can carry out what you want? Who will do what you want, not what they want.
Right.
But they know that you know that they are going to carry out the wish, even if it's hard.
Yeah.
They're going to get them, you know, I'm just going to be frank. They're going to get them to pull the plug.
Right.
Even if it's hard. And the rest of the family is telling you, no, don't pull that plug. Because you've already decided you don't want to live that way. These are crucial decisions.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully it never has to happen.
Yeah. That's very common.
Yes, it's happened to me, but it happened with my mother. So, but these are real situations, and hopefully it doesn't have to happen. I have to put on my glasses because, of course, these squares are smaller than I would have liked. Which is more important to me, the length of my life or the quality of my life? Very interesting question. Some people want the length and some people want the quality. Some people won't take any kind of treatment and just, that's it. So it's very important to think about these things and share them with people who are really important. Who would I feel most comfortable helping with my personal care? These are very significant questions, because if you can't care for yourself, you've got to have somebody that you really trust in that intimate circle, dealing with, you know, intimate things. So who is the person that you're feeling okay with? It's a very interesting, you know, some people don't want their husband doing it. Some people want their wife doing it. Some people, they want to go into a hospital. They don't want to be in a hospice. You know, it's people, once you talk about things, they're very clear. Would you know where to look for a copy of my most important personal information? Where is everything? You know, it's these are very good, important conversation starters.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Yep. Oh, hang on.
So advanced care planning, you know, the next step is, it's a process of thinking and talking about what's important to you. This helps you and those closest to you prepare to make future healthcare decisions. So you think about what matters most, you know, who could make the healthcare decisions for you if you can't. You discuss the thoughts with those closest to you and your healthcare providers. You record your wishes, share the plan with those closest. And then, of course, I would say review it. And this is where I bring in Beverly and I say, once we do all the work, or she does all that work with you, then you've got it notarized, or you've got it, it's legal. Then the person can just take that. Usually that person has a copy. So if something should happen to you, they just go and they show it and they say, I am the designated person. I am, this is who I am. And so then what happens is, that person is the one who does it, and the rest of the people may try to get in and may try to do things, but they will not be able to, because this is the wishes of the individual. So it is incredibly detailed and beautiful to think that you can actually kind of orchestrate your own symphony, really.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Do you want to say anything about that?
I just want to say, I think I always say the best time to do this planning is when nothing is happening, when you're clear, you know, and you can always change or tweak things with change of events, or, you know, a diagnosis or things like that. But it really is, and it leaves you in charge of how things will go. And I get a chance to talk to a lot of people about this, and most people, if you've done some planning, the people, your family, your loved ones, are grateful. They're absolutely grateful that there's something in place. But it's really hard. I mean, I see people with, you know, recent diagnoses, and they're grappling with that, and then you throw this on. It's a lot. You know, it's a lot to it's a big load. So yeah, so do it while you're clear mind and there isn't any big life events happening. So
it's like a little project. It's like a little project. That's what I like to think. It's a project that you do, and you may work with someone, you may work with Beverly, you may work with the friends. You could start a little group and have discussions, but once you're ready to formalize it and get it sorted, then, you know, it's a really good thing. It's really good. And they have a lot of different kinds of groups that you can do, you know, to actually facilitate that. So it is good. Anyway, okay, back to, we're almost through here. So it's the same kind of thing. It's just a few more questions. So when we think about what matters, you know, what would I be afraid of if I became unwell? These are good questions. Do I have personal beliefs that are important to my healthcare wishes? You know, somebody asked a good question earlier. I think these are just questions to help you. So let's move along. Is it the voice that's coming?
Yep, my voice.
See, you read my mind. Okay, so the voice is a document that Beverly can provide you. And of course, I can, or anybody else who does healthcare planning. And what it is a document that allows you to review everything and then put your plan in here rough. I call it rough because everything really should go to a notary or a lawyer or somebody to formalize everything. But it allows you, I've got it up there, it allows you to, be your writer and have it in draft form and work it all out. It's very, very good. And yeah, so let's see what the next one says. Oh. So I want to tell you, this is Zuki, and Zuki is 20 years old.
Wow.
And he does not have a healthcare plan.
He does not.
But he has parents who are doing his medical decisions for him.
Right.
Are there any questions? And the reason his tongue sticks out like that is because, of course, at this age, he has no teeth left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I know we've got some resources here.
Yep, I've got resources in Victoria. These are just general resources in your area.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And there's Me Too.
And there's you too. Yes. Yeah.
There is Me Too. That's what I do.
There you go.
And so here we are.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Okay. Thank you.
I look forward to more. And thanks everyone for participating. Thanks.
Okay.